Well, welcome to the Kentucky Talking Book Library's 50th anniversary. I'm Barbara Penegor, and I am the manager of the Talking Book Library. And first I want to give you may have already found this out now because food's already almost gone, but we do have food. Restrooms are to my right, also water fountains. We've got plenty of drinks. So feel free to roam around for those. In the back, directly across from me, we have a display of talking book materials from the past years. We also have a video display on the TV screen back there. And I apologize that it's not all audio, only certain parts of our audio. Oops. But the important parts, we had some patron quotes that we recorded and put on there, and that's the most important part. Because as much as I tell you talking books are a good program, nobody says it better than the people who use it themselves. So please, after the program, go back there and take a look at that. Also, those of you who might be interested in touring the Talking Book Library, after the program, we'll take small groups of you up there, so that will be an option as well. I'm going to start off, since it is our 50th anniversary, with a brief history of the Talking Book program. In 1931, the Pratt-Smoot Act became law to establish the Library of Congress books for the blind, and at that time they were just Braille books. In 1933 and 34, the talking books were introduced. They played on 33 1/3 RPM records, which the standard at the time was a 78 RPM. So some of us older folks thought of as standard albums on 33 1/3. That started with the Talking Book program. In 1952, children were included in the program. In 1966, people with physical disabilities were included. 1968, flexible discs are introduced. And if you're not familiar with a flexible disc, they're like a record, but they're very thin plastic. I don't know if you remember when you were a kid, the cereal boxes sometimes have them on the back. I may be dating myself. And in 1969, the Kentucky Talking Book Library opened up on April 1st. It wasn't a joke. They had a staff of 6 people. They had 4,000 books on record. And they had 1,700 patrons. Can everybody hear me okay? Am I talking loud enough? Okay. In 1971, the cassette players were introduced. And if you look back at our display, you'll see different colored cassette players. Those are all the different reiterations until they settled on that lovely kind of goldy yellow color. In 1977, 2 recording booths were installed in the Talking Book Library, and the recording program began. They had to move those from another location into this building. In 1982, speaking of that, the Talking Book Library moved into this building. This building was inducted, what's the word I want? It opened in 1982, and I'm glad I didn't work here when they had to move the library over here. In 1984, the Talking Book Library adopted a computer automation system called READS, which helped manage the patrons, the collections, and circulation. And I, for one, cannot imagine how they circulated the books without a computer system. You know, that boggles my mind. I'm not even going to begin to try and explain that. In 1996, the Chafee Amendment to copyright law allowed talking books to be recorded without prior consent. Of course, it had some restrictions, but we didn't have to try and get permission from the author or the copyright holder before recording books. In 1999, Web Braille allowed patrons to access Braille from the internet. And in 2008-2009, the BARD download program started. Is Tanya Gatton here?
No. She would not.
Tanya downloaded the 1 millionth book from BARD, and that was in 2010. So BARD was officially introduced in 2009, and within like a year or so, she downloaded the 1 millionth book. So that was her claim to fame, among other things. She's very accomplished. In 2009, the Talking Book Library started distributing the digital machines and talking books to its patrons, and a lot of you all were around then, you remember that. In 2013, Bard Mobile was released for iOS operating systems for smartphones and tablets, and 2 years later, the Android, the compatible Bard Mobile was released. Sorry, this is why I'm not a talking book narrator. In 2014, the Talking Book Library became the first library to adopt the WebReads automation system. We tested that for probably 6 months or so, and we had to log all the flaws and bugs and what worked right, and then we were the first library to go live with that. And that was a big deal at the time. Now it seems like that was so long ago. In 2017, we became one of the first 6 libraries to transition to a duplication on demand circulation system. And that means we don't have to have a physical collection with books on the shelves to send out to you. We just take a blank cartridge, stick it in a computer port, say Bill Wright needs 6 books today. It will download those 6 books on that cartridge in just minutes, and we pop it in a container, send it on its way. When it comes back, we scan it to erase it, and reuse it for the next person. So there's no more having to put books back on the shelves, go pull books off the shelves. It just makes things much more convenient, specifically because all books are available all the time. You don't have to worry about waiting lists or anything. If 218 people want to read the same book, that's fine. So that's just a very brief history, and it mostly covers the technology and the processes used over the years, but our core mission is always to serve our patrons so that all may read. And we want to see who's here. So if you're a Talking Book patron, clap your hands. Very good. If you're a friend or family member of a Talking Book patron, clap your hands. If you're here representing an organization, like from APH, I know we have, some of you patrons may be excited, we have Jack Fox here. And he's one of the narrators for the National Library Service program. So Jack, do you want to stand up? Where did you go? There he is, back in the back. He is like a rock star in the Talking Book world. Is there anyone here from the Division of Blind Services? Oh, there you all. Hey, Jenny and Gay. They are very good about referring a lot of our patrons to us, amongst other things they do. Is there anyone here from Radio I? Oh, there's Amy right there in the front. Oh, welcome. We serve kind of the same clientele, so we refer a lot of folks to them, and they refer some to us. Is there anyone here from the Veterans Administration? No? Well, the VIS coordinators are very good about referring patrons to us as well. Anyone else who's here from an organization? Well, I was thinking more like... KS. Yeah, okay, yeah. We'll say Adam is representing the Kentucky School for the Blind. Yeah, it's spring break, so we didn't have good turnout from School for the Blind because they wanted to go on vacation. Where is she? Oh, there she is back there. Well, thank you all for coming. How about both current and past Talking Book Library volunteers? Would you clap? These are the folks that come in, and some of them are narrators whose voices you hear on the Talking Books. Some of them are monitors who are actually outside the booth operating the recording system and following along to make sure they read what's in the book. And then some of them are proofreaders who will listen to that raw recording and make notations of any mistakes that need to be re-recorded. What about past, sorry, I keep plosives, I know what that is now. Do we have any past Talking Book employees here? Wendy, I didn't see you there, hey. So we've got a few, but I would like all of our current Talking Book employees to please stand so you can see them. There's Tracy and Susan and Janet, our librarians over there. And Brian, our studio manager, is over here to my left. And I don't see anybody. Oh, Devin, there's Devin over there. She's our wandering photographer, so if she points the camera, just smile and look pretty. And we have some other folks, but I don't know where they are. And then I also have some other staff over here serving the food. These are folks that work in the state library. And while they don't work in the talking book, while they don't work directly in the talking book library, they do a lot of work involving large print and audiobooks that are sent to public libraries around the state. So you may have used some of their services in the past. So,